Today we are going to solve O-Level Physics 5054 Paper 1 Variant 1 May June 17 and questions from 1 to 20. Okay, it is O-Level Physics 5054 Paper 1 Variant 1 May June 17. Question 1. A micrometer is used to measure the diameter of a uniform wire. Okay, what is done to obtain an accurate answer? Option A. Make the micrometer horizontal and then use the scales to find the reading. Option B. Subtract the fixed scale reading from the rotating scale reading. Option C. Subtract the rotating scale reading from the fixed scale reading. Option D. Use the scales to find the reading and to add or subtract any zero error. Okay, option D is the correct one. Use the scales to find the reading and add or subtract any zero error. Okay, here we have a micrometer. Here it is called fixed scale or main scale and it is called rotating scale. Okay, it is better we check here. Here we have a micrometer. In the micrometer, before taking the reading, first we should check that there is an error or not, and that error is known as zero error. How we have to calculate the zero error? First we have to close this one completely so that there is no gap. When there is no gap, the 0 on the fixed scale should coincide with 0 on this circular scale. If 0 on the fixed scale is coinciding with the 0 on the circular scale, then we say there is no error or there is no zero error. And if 0 of the fixed scale is not coinciding with 0 of the circular scale, then we say there is an error and it is called zero error. Now there are two possibilities whether this 0 is below the fixed scale or the 0 of the circular scale is above the fixed scale or main scale. If the 0 of the circular scale is below the main scale, then it is called positive zero error, and in the calculation we have to subtract this value. And if this 0 is above the main scale 0, then it is called negative zero error, and that one we have to add in the calculation. So what we have to do to obtain an accurate answer? Use the scales. Use the scales means we have to use the main scale and the circular scale to find the reading and add or subtract any zero error. Means if there is a positive zero error, then we have to subtract. If there is a negative zero error, then we have to add. So option D is the correct one. Question number 2. A car's acceleration and maximum speed are improved by using an engine of smaller mass and greater driving force. How many of the underlying quantities are vectors? Here acceleration is a vector quantity and force is a vector quantity. So in the sentence there are two vector quantities and it is given in the option B. So option B is the correct one. Speed and mass are scalar quantities. Question number 3. The diagram shows the resultant R of a 3 Newton force and a 4 Newton force acting at a point. Here we have two forces, one of 4 Newton and second of 3 Newton. The angle between the 3 Newton force and the 4 Newton force can be any value from 0 degree to 90 degree. Which value of R is not possible? Option A 4 Newton, option B 5 Newton, option C 6 Newton, option D 7 Newton. Okay, here this R is resultant force, and from the graph it is very clear that this resultant force is more than this 4 Newton force. So this force will be more than 4 Newton. It cannot be 4 Newton. So our answer is option A. Which value of R is not possible? 4 Newton is not possible. This R will be more than 4 Newton. So it can be 5, it can be 6 or it can be 7, but it cannot be 4 Newton because length of this R is more than this 4 Newton force. So option A is the correct one, 4 Newton. Question number 4. The diagram shows the distance time graph of a car. Here we have plotted a graph in between time and distance, and this gradient will represent speed or velocity of the car. The car is traveling along a straight road up a hill. Which quantity for the car is constant and greater than 0? Okay, here we are looking that velocity of the car is constant. Now we read our options. Option A, acceleration. Acceleration means rate of change in velocity. Here velocity is constant, so there is no acceleration. Acceleration is 0. Option B, gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy is given as mgh. Here is no concept of velocity, so option B is not possible. Option C, kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is given as half mv square. Since velocity is constant here, so kinetic energy will also be constant because kinetic energy is given as half mv square. Option D, resultant force. Force is given as a product of mass and acceleration. Since acceleration is 0, so we can say resultant force will also be 0. So option C is the correct one. Kinetic energy will be constant and greater than 0 because it depends on velocity. Question number 5. A resultant force acts on an object and causes it to move in a straight line. The graph shows how the resultant force varies with time. Okay, here we have a graph in between time and resultant force. Now here we are looking, resultant force is gradually decreasing, and at the time t naught, the resultant force is 0. Okay, we know whenever there is a resultant force, there is an acceleration. So we can say here from this point to this point, acceleration is gradually decreasing, and at this point acceleration is 0, and onward also acceleration is 0. So we have to find out which graph is the speed time graph for the object. Here we have 4 options A, B, C and D. We have to find out which one is the correct one. Okay, option A is the correct one. Why? Here we are looking, acceleration is gradually decreasing, and here in the graph it is given resultant force is decreasing. With the decrease in the resultant force, acceleration is gradually decreasing. At the time t naught, this acceleration is 0 because now the gradient is along the x-axis. So here acceleration is 0. Now at the point t naught and onward, acceleration is 0. So option A is the correct one. Next question. Question number 6. A skydiver jumps from an aeroplane. After a few seconds, he reaches a terminal velocity without opening his parachute. Why does he reach terminal velocity? Option A. Air resistance becomes greater than his weight and slows him down. Option B. Air resistance decreases and he speeds up. Option C. Air resistance increases and balances his weight so that its acceleration is 0. Option D. His weight decreases and balances the air resistance. Okay, it is given here. He reaches a terminal velocity. Terminal velocity means there is no acceleration. No acceleration means downward force should be equal to upward force. Now here, when the skydiver is moving, two forces are acting on him. One is downward force, that is weight of the skydiver, and second force is the air resistance, that is in the upward direction. When these two forces are equal, the resultant force will be 0 and there will be no acceleration, and he will be in terminal velocity. So option C is the correct one. Air resistance increases and balances his weight so that its acceleration is 0. So that his acceleration is 0. Okay, question number 7. A satellite is orbiting the Earth in a circular orbit. Which two quantities are always in the same direction as each other? Option A, the acceleration of the satellite and the displacement of the satellite. Option B, the acceleration of the satellite and the velocity of the satellite. Option C, the resultant force on the satellite and the acceleration of the satellite. Option D, the resultant force on the satellite and the velocity of the satellite. Okay, according to Newton's second law of motion, whenever there is a resultant force, there is an acceleration, and that acceleration is in the direction of the resultant force. So acceleration and resultant force should be in the same direction, and it is given in the option C. So option C is the correct one. The resultant force on the satellite and the acceleration of the satellite will be in same direction. Question number 8. A satellite is in a circular orbit around a planet. Which statement is correct? Option A. Its acceleration is constant in direction but not in size. Option B. Its acceleration is constant in size but not in direction. Option C. Its gravitational potential energy varies. Option D. Its velocity is constant. Okay, when an object is moving in a circular path, the magnitude of the velocity remains constant, but its direction is continuously changing. So we can say option B is the correct one. Its acceleration is constant in size. In size means its magnitude is constant, but not in direction. Direction is continuously changing. So option B is the correct one. Question number 9. The diagram shows a block of wood resting on a sloping board. Which arrow shows the direction of the gravitational force acting on the block? Okay, it is very simple question. Direction of the gravitational force is always vertically downward. So it will be in the direction of A. Question number 10. An astronaut travels to the International Space Station. Which row describes how his mass and his weight compare with their sizes on Earth? Okay, here we have two columns. One is given mass, second is for weight, and for options A, B, C, and D. Okay, first thing, mass always remains constant and weight depends on the gravitational field strength. When we move away from the surface of the earth, then gravitational field strength will be decreased, and we can say weight will be decreased because weight is equal to m into g, where g is gravitational field strength. So we can say mass will remain constant and weight will be different. It is given in the option C, that mass remains the same and weight will be different. So option C is the correct one. Question number 11. The graph shows the extension of a piece of copper wire as the load on it is increased. Okay, here we have a graph in between load and extension. What does the graph shows? Option A, at a certain load, the wire becomes easier to extend. Option B, at a certain load, the wire becomes harder to extend. Option C, the load and the extension are directly proportional for all loads. Option D, the load and extension are inversely proportional for all loads. Okay, the topic is related to Hooke's law. Okay, here we are looking, the graph is a straight line up to this point, and after this we are looking, the gradient is moving towards the extension of the y, it is moving towards the y-axis, or we can say gradient is increasing here. After this point, the gradient is gradually increasing. So we can say with the applying of load, now we can extend easily. After this point, it can be extended easily. So we can say option A is the correct one. At a certain load, the wire becomes easier to extend. After this point, the wire is easier to extend. So option A is the correct one. Question number 12. A uniform beam is pivoted at its center. It is a uniform beam. It is pivoted at the center. The beam is balanced by three weights. Here we have three weights. One is of 100 Newton, second is 350, and third one is 300 Newton. Okay, what is the length D? Here it is asked what is the length D. Okay, the topic is related with principle of moment. Principle of moment says clockwise moment is equal to anti-clockwise moment. Now here, because of these two forces, moment will be clockwise, and because of this force, the moment will be anti-clockwise. And moment is given as product of force and force arm. What is meant by force arm? Force arm is the distance between the line of action of the force to the pivot. This length is called force arm or moment arm. Okay, now here clockwise moment, here because of this force 300 Newton, there is a clockwise moment. So moment will be equal to 300 multiplied by 0.4. It is equal to 300 multiplied by 0.4. This is anti-clockwise moment. Now about the clockwise moment, because of this force, moment will be equal to 350 multiplied by this distance, that is equal to d. So 350 multiplied by d. And moment of because of this 100 Newton force will be equal to 100 multiplied by this distance, that is given 0.5 meter. So it is 100 multiplied by 0.5, and by solving this one we will get the answer d is equal to 0.2 meter. Now 0.2 meter is given in the option C, so option C is the correct one. Question number 13. The work done by a force on a body is calculated by multiplying the force by a quantity. Which quantity? Okay, work is defined as a product of force and the distance traveled in the direction of the force. So option A is the correct one. It is basic definition of work done. Question number 14. A small motor has an input power rating of 10 watt and is run for 5 minutes. What is the electrical energy input to the motor in this time? Okay, power is given as energy over time. So energy will be equal to power into time. Now power is given 10 watts. So power is equal to 10 watts and time is 5 minutes. But this time we have to consider in seconds. So we have to multiply this 5 by 60 to convert into seconds. So time in second is equal to 5 into 60, and by solving this one we will get the answer 3000 joules. Now 3000 joules is given in the option D, so option D is the correct one. Question number 15. A small hydroelectric power station diverts water from a river. Every second 20 kg of water flows through a pipe and falls through a vertical drop of 15 meters. The efficiency of the power station is 0.60, means 60%. The gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kg. What is the power output? Okay, efficiency is given as output power over input power. Now efficiency is given 0.60. Output power we have to calculate. Input power is not given here, but from the data we can calculate input power. Here water is falling down. When water is falling down, it means we can say water is doing some work. And since it is falling down, its height is changing. So we can say work done is equal to change in gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy is given as mgh. So we can say work done is equal to mgh. Now power is equal to work done over time. So we can say input power is equal to mgh over t. Now here input power is equal to mgh over t. Now this m is mass is 20 kg. This g gravitational field strength, it is 10 Newton per kg. This 15 is the height. Here it is given vertical drop. So our height is 15 meters divided by time. Time is given every second. So time is equal to 1 second. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer 1800 watts. Now in the option, all the answers are given in the kilowatt. So we have to convert this 1800 watt in kilowatts. So by dividing it by 1000, we will get the answer in kilowatt. So it will be equal to 1.8 kilowatt. Now 1.8 kilowatt is given in the option B. So option B is the correct one. Question number 16. Two cylindrical vessels are joined together and filled with water as shown. Here we have two cylinders. Both the cylinders are filled with water. How does the pressure at X compare to the pressure at point Y and Z? Okay, here we have to compare the pressure at point X with the pressure at point Y and the pressure at point Z. Okay, pressure of liquid is given as P is equal to rho GH, where this rho is for density, this G is for gravitational field strength, and this H is for the vertical height. Vertical height means we have to consider the distance, consider the height from the point to the surface of the water level. This will be the height for X. From this point to this point, this will be the height for Y, and from this point to the surface will be the height for the point Z. Okay, here this density and gravitational field strength will remain same. So we can say pressure will depend only on the height. Now here This x and y both are at the same height, so we can say pressure at x and pressure at y will be same. So if we compare pressure at x with the pressure at y, both the pressure will be same. Pressure at x will be equal to pressure at y. Now what about the z? We are looking here, the height for x is less as compared to height for the point z. So we can say pressure at z is more as compared to pressure at x. We can say pressure at x is lower as compared to pressure at z. Now we will check our options. Now in the option C, it is given pressure at x is same as compared to y and pressure at x is lower as compared to z. So option C is the correct one. Question number 17. The pressure of a gas in a cylinder is measured using a water manometer. The density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube and the gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kg. What is the pressure above atmospheric pressure of the gas in the cylinder? Okay, pressure of a liquid is given as P is equal to rho GH, where this rho is for density, G is for gravitational field strength, and this H is the difference in the column of mercury height. Okay, now we have to substitute the values. Density is given 1000 kg per meter cube. This G is gravitational field strength and is given 10 Newton per kg. Now this H is the difference in the mercury in the column. Okay, it is given 20 centimeter, but we have to consider this one in meter. So we have to divide this 20 by 100, and by dividing by 100 we will get 0.20. So this height is 0.20 in meters, and by solving this one we will get the answer 2000 Pascal. Now we will check our options. 2000 Pascal is given in the option B, so option B is the correct one. Now question number 18. 4 beakers contain equal volume of water at two different temperatures. The beakers are placed in the open air. From which beaker does the water evaporates the fastest? Okay, here we have two columns. In one column it is given surface area, in the second column it is given temperature. Okay, we have studied that evaporation depends on surface area and also on temperature. If more surface area, for more surface area evaporation will be more, and for more temperature evaporation will be more. So now we have to check here where the temperature is more and surface area is more. Here in the option D, we are looking surface area is maximum and also temperature is maximum. So we can say evaporation will be maximum in the option D. So option D is the correct one. Question number 19. A fixed mass of gas undergoes a change of volume at constant temperature. Which diagram shows the relationship between the volume and the pressure of the gas? Okay, here it is given at constant temperature, means the topic is related with Boyle's law. In Boyle's law, we have studied that volume of a gas is inversely proportional to applied pressure when temperature is kept constant. And what is meant by inversely proportional? Inversely proportional means with the increase in one physical quantity, the second quantity will be decreased. And when we plot a graph in between two physical quantities that are inversely proportional, the graph is always a curve. Graph cannot be a straight line. Now in option A and option B, the graph in between volume and pressure, it is given a straight line. So option A and option B are not possible. Now we will check option C and option D. In option C, we are looking with the increase in pressure, volume is increasing. So it cannot be, because when two physical quantities are inversely proportional, with the increase of one quantity, second quantity will decrease, and it is shown in the option D that with the decrease in pressure, volume will increase. So option D is the correct one. Question number 20. A substance consists of particles that are close together and moving past each other at random. The average speed of the particle is gradually increasing. What best describes the substance? Option A, a gas being heated. Option B, a liquid being heated. Option C, a liquid undergoing solidification. Option D, a solid being heated. Okay, it is given here. Molecules are moving at random. Molecules are moving at random means it may be a gas or a liquid. Because in solids, molecules do not move randomly. In solids, the molecules just vibrate at their mean position. So solid cannot be. So option D is not possible. Also, option C is not possible because in option C it is given a liquid undergoing solidification. When a liquid is going under solidification, it means its kinetic energy is decreasing. Its average speed is decreasing. Here it is given average speed is gradually increasing. So option C is also not possible. So only possible options are A and B. Now we have to check whether A is correct or B is correct. Here it is given a substance consists of particles that are close together. In gases, the molecules are not close together. In gases, molecules are far away. In liquids, molecules are close together. So option B is the best option, a liquid being heated. So correct option is option B. Okay, today we have completed up to question number 20. The remaining questions from 21 to 40 we will do in the next session. Thank you very much.